Hello, and thank you for attending this Power Up series. Today we will be discussing a list maintenance. So hopefully we're going to set up the rest of 2023 for success with a highly qualified, well-maintained list. Little bit about me. I am a deliverability consultant here at Acton. I have had 15 years of email marketing experience, and I have I've experienced a number of different companies, um, from B2B to B2C, from small to large, and have worked with them all.
Hello, my name is Travis Wetherbee. I'm an Act-On deliverability consultant as well. I'm an 18-year veteran of the email marketing industry. My experience ranges from working on the Hotmail Postmaster team for a few years, as well as after that, moving to the email service provider side ever since. So, next slide.
Okay. So, what do we do here and how can we help your team? We work to improve email deliverability. This means getting the right message to the right person at the right time. The deliverability team provides tactical guidance and insight to build strategy for better email deliverability. We also monitor your domain, unblock you if you are blocklisted, and make recommendations to adjust your sending cadence based off of your key email metrics. In short, we know firsthand the problems that an unmaintained list can and bad data can cause, which is why we're here today. I'll hand it back to Travis.
The bad data act on prohibited data. These sources are a major pain source for deliverability and can ruin the reputation of a sender quickly. It doesn't take a lot of bad data to turn a good reputation into a bad reputation and a good deliverability into bad deliverability. Next slide. So today we're going to rank the email sources. So not all email data is the same. The same holds true for data acquisition methods. In marketing and sales, leads can be qualified at different levels as more or less valuable based on the source and collection type. The same rule applies with deliverability. Here we rank all 9 sources from the absolute best to the worst. Next slide. Thank you. So email source, data sources ranked. So number 1, we have the organic confirmed opt-in email with CAPTCHA. This is your Cadillac of opt-in methods. So this is basically a hand raiser that's come to your website or your form. Again, we're talking about web forms specifically. And they have requested that you send them email. So again, when we talk about this, we're talking about quality of web quality of entrance or quality of sign up forms. Again, we're talking about the quality of touch points specifically with the subscriber. So the more touch points that you have with a subscriber when they're entering your system, okay, entering your communications, the better with regards to deliverability. So with number 1, we have 5 touch points. Number 2, we have organic confirmed opt-in email. So again, this is just a step back. So on number 1, we have a CAPTCHA. We have the confirmed opt-in. So the email is sent, the person confirms their identity, confirm they want to receive email. On the form, they check the boxes to receive the email. They enter their email, they click the form. So in number 2 here, the only thing we're removing is the CAPTCHA. So again, with the CAPTCHA removed, we do open ourselves up to start collecting bots. Some bad data will start coming through. So without the CAPTCHA, we will start to see those issues. So again, 4 touch points for number 2 versus number 1 with 5. Number 3, organic opt-in email. So this is good data, but is a much greater chance of typos, fake data, spam traps, those sorts of things. So again, we don't have any CAPTCHA, where checkboxes are pre-checked, those sorts of things. Again, the touch points reduces to 3 here from 4 for a subscriber. So the quality is reducing as we go through the list from number 1 through all the way through number 9. Number 4 is a double opt-in, or what I would call a confirmed opt-in. This is basically data primarily consists of in-person paper badge signups at trade shows or events, a proper double opt-in or confirmed opt-in. With the first email, fulfills two important purposes. It checks to make sure the right email address is listed. Hygiene also helps with that. And number 2, if the individual has forgotten who the sender is, it reminds the receiver of the purpose of the emails. And again, we're down to 2 touch points here specifically. So the giving of the email address and then the confirming of the email address when that first email is sent. So number 5, we have opt-in email. We are down to 1 touch point. They are literally coming to your form, putting in an email address. There's no check boxes. There can be check boxes, but they're pre-checked. There's really no other interactions here. So single opt-in emails are the easiest way to put bad data in a system other than the types of data outlined below or above, or below rather, sorry, that we'll talk about in just a second. Treat this data carefully. As always, incorporate list hygiene best practices with opt-in. Number 6, third-party opt-in data. There are 2 types of third-party opt-in data, the okay and the bad. The former occurs when someone opts into an email stream. They either know or are told explicitly in the email that the person emailing them is different from the sign-up location. There are 2 examples. Lendytree.com, this is a site that provides loans, but they do not source they don't provide loans, but they do source individuals who do, and they pass off that information gathered to these third parties. The person signing up is told explicitly what is happening, and they expect and want the emails from the third party. Again, in marketing coming from an outside source, okay, so this is a bad. At times, companies outsource certain areas such as marketing, content curation. If the consumer is getting an email from someone else, a different domain from where they signed up, it is critical to include the who, the what, the where, then the why, and how they are receiving the email. Okay, number 7, scraped data. We are in, so between 6 and 7, we're moving into basically 7, 8, and 9, or 7 and 8 are your prohibited data within the Act-On platform. Scraped data. Scraping data is a technique in which an email is visible on a web form or website rather, and it is scraped into a database. This can be done through web crawlers. It can be done through individuals just manually doing it themselves. It is illegal in locations, the EU, Canada, just to name a few. And it also is the primary source of spam traps. So Postmasters anti-spam services will often leave role accounts out on websites, and basically people sending marketing email without an opt-in to those addresses will be flagged as spam traps. Beyond that, it's a pretty spammy practice. Scraping is the #1 way to get pristine spam traps into your database. And these traps will quickly land you on a block list, such as Spamhaus, which Spamhaus's footprint in the email marketing world is as big as it gets. Number 8, number 2 in the bad data realm is purchased or rented data. And again, this is prohibited data from the perspective of if you're sending to this data and you do trip a spam trap with Spamhaus, we will have to suspend sending on the account. And we have a process in place to work with you as well as the block list providers when this happens. So this is the other half. So purchased or rented data. So this is the other half of the data that is a third party opted in. Unlike earlier examples, it is in a broad sense, purchased data is data from a third party that offers bulk emails for marketing purposes. Many of these sources claim to have opt-ins, but this data is either opted in through misrepresentation, hidden or obfuscated terms, or simply scraped. So pre-checked boxes they're not very visible, that may be scrolled down on the bottom of the page. They're not next to the sign-up form. They're really murky terms in terms of what who's going to be emailing you, what type of email, those sorts of things. And again, this is the biggest pain point for senders due to various spam traps, complainers, or what we call screamers, contained within the email list. So a lot of that data is absolutely bad. So number 9. Unknown data. And again, number 9, unknown data can be anything from number 1, right, organic confirmed opt-in with CAPTCHA, to number 8, could be purchase data. So let me give the example of an unknown data. So marketers, salespeople, customer service reps are often removed from their data. This is true. For instance, senders are frequently handed lists from their predecessors. So you just took over a new marketing manager position and you have a list on the drive. It just says marketing list or whatever, however it's named. So you're told to blindly send to that list. So this is an easy way to hit a spam trap and end up on further block lists. So when confronted with an unknown list, so you don't know the source, you don't know the opt-ins, you don't know where it came from. Number one, do a little bit of research, start asking around those sorts of things. Number two, run your list through a hygiene service such as Webula or Never Bounce. And again, it is always recommended to running your through hygiene services is kind of an insurance, so to speak, against bad data. So, and then after that, after you get your test back, run a limited test to see if it contains problems and then gauge performance. So run a couple hundred emails or whatever the size of the list is, see how the subscribers, react to the emails, and then make your decision on whether to continue to send to that list or not based on the responses that you're getting back. Next slide. And again, bad data, act on prohibited data. Again, if you are purchasing, renting lists, scraping, we can't stop you from doing that. However, if you send to that on our platform and you get blocked by Spamhaus, we do have a process in place. Again, we suspend the account and those sorts of things. So again, this is the damage to the reputation is great. So next slide.
All right. Thank you, Travis. So let's talk a little bit more about strategies for building up an audience. We understand the goal of gaining more highly qualified leads or customers. Of course, growing an audience is a necessary component of any company's marketing efforts. It's all about quality over quantity. Dangerous mentality is I don't care what you do or how it's done, just email as many people as possible. Trust me, the more riskier the list, the more resources and maintenance you need to conduct. It's all about getting the right message in front of the right person. First step, make sure that you have a clean list that is not filled with errors, abandoned email addresses, or traps that threaten your reputation. If you get your audience through those riskier measures that Travis was talking about, your list will take more work and you will need to more consistently validate and edit out more contacts. As Travis mentioned, there are a number of ways to collect contacts from ideal sources that present the best opportunities. How often should you contact your emails? Reminder, it is to build rapport with an audience today so that you can work with them tomorrow. If you over message or spam your audience, this will break trust. You want to keep them engaged and provide only necessary content that relates to them. So identify the best prospects or customers, engage them, and improve their perception of your business or organization through engagement. I recommend setting marketing goals around engagement and let go of old contact lists that show no interest in your communications. A small active list is better than a large old inactive list because the larger the list, the more inactive they are, the worse your deliverability. Why? This will also impact your inboxing and will cause your message to go to spam. And this keeps the interested potential customers from getting your message that they might enjoy. So not only should you focus on interested contacts, you can also throttle a message and send over time to get greater inboxing. Internet service providers are now ever more vigilant against poor quality emails. And if they see poor hygiene coming from your IP or domains, they will hold it against you. We do have documentation on some of these items, and this will be covered in upcoming webinars for next topics. All right. So, as we've kind of alluded to, we do have list validation and cleansing services. Acton integrates with important list cleansing tools. There are several companies that help marketers validate their data before sending to it. Both Webula and NeverBounce work with our system to provide that accurate, verified, and up-to-date list so that you do not have to waste time and effort, and ultimately inbox better than your competition. Webula is best in class. For new contacts or contacts that are older, Webula is ideal. Never Bounce is greater for removing hard bounces if that's your issue and can be slightly cheaper. I recommend an email marketer cleanse their list at least once a year for moderate risk levels that Travis mentioned. Clean your list quarterly or monthly for those high risk at 7 through 9. Uh, Regularly do it each time when entering those contacts into your database. The overall process is similar for both providers, and it works by bumping up your list against their database of known bad email addresses, pinging email servers, and reviewing the sort of makeup of the email addresses. For additional tips on features and maintenance in the program, I will hand it over to Travis.
So let's clean up. What can you do within the Acton platform just outside of Webula and Never Bounce? So some of the list maintenance programs we have within the platforms, removing bounces and opt-outs going into the platform. So you can pull your bounces and opt-outs through Data Studio within reports as well. Get the list. And what we'd recommend within the platform is removing the bounces and opt-outs, so unsubscribes, complaints, unknown users, those sorts of things, and get them out of your list. Go into and remove them from the list. Now, again, when you send to these and a person opt-outs, they're added to a suppression list. So if you send to that subscriber again, they were suppressed out. They will not be sent. However, the list size will continue to stay the same if you aren't removing these subscribers, which can throw off your accuracy in terms of your deployment totals, those sorts of things. And so we recommend going in, removing the bounces out of there so you have an accurate number as far as your list size. That'll help with planning. It'll help with frequency, volume, those sorts of things throughout the year. So as well, scrubbing individual email addresses, and we recommend going into your lists, looking in there, who is making up your list. So, for example, going in your list, seeing, hey, do we have a bunch of subscribers with, hotmail.com, those sorts of things. Looking at those subscribers, seeing, okay, what types of subscribers are coming into our system through our web forms, and then making determinations based on how much you're going to need hygiene, those sorts of things. But again, scrubbing each old individual email addresses out will help as well with list cleanup. Next slide.
Okay. Now that I think every marketer can say, hey, we've got, email addresses from various sources, various level of cleaning. What are the metrics that show whether or not I have a quality list? Well, let's start with some of the positive behaviors or attributes that you should be looking for. If you've purchased data or, it is risky, or you have a decreasing deliverability rate that is lower than 95%, consider those list validation services and those act-on maintenance features. After those validations, you also need to take into account if the contact is receptive to your messaging. The higher the risk, the more strict you need to be, and the more resources you need to dedicate. I start off with these general recommendations for metrics as a minimum threshold for engagement. However, you should adjust these based off of your own sending habits. So, in the last 90 days, I would recommend at least the person has opened one message and has clicked on a message at least once. Also, Acton has what's called Data Studio. Data Studio is an advanced data tool that allows you to export raw data And from there, you can view some important metrics from your Act On account. You can ask your account manager about adding this on. I'm also a big fan of scoring and interest-based list segmentation or separating your list out. For example, if you are at a conference on a specific topic, uh, then you know this audience is going to be most primed for a message that might not apply to all. Another thing is going to be some of these negative metrics. So looking at warning signs, you do not want to see a dramatic increase in opt-outs or people hitting that spam button. If you see I see opt-outs as healthy. It's normal and people should be able to opt out. But if you see a dramatic jump from one single send, then we know that there could be an issue with the messaging. We also do not want to see several spam complaints or an increase in spam complaints. So as a threshold, keep it under 0.1% on any given send. Spam complaints can be a big issue for inboxing. Also, there is a difference between a spam complaint and a spam trap. A spam trap is set by services like Spamhaus to catch email marketers who do not clean their lists or purchase data. Again, this can cause significant reputational harm and substantial interruptions in your sending. Validation can help, but it's also best to remove contacts that have no engagement. As for bounces, I recommend keeping your bounces under 2%. You can also set a system to automatically remove soft bounces, which we will explore in future webinars. Sending emails to inboxes that are full, not being checked, or email addresses that don't appear to engage can trigger an algorithm to mark you as potential spam. On that note, let's talk about my favorite topic, sunsetting. So this is letting go of old data, also known as sunsetting. It's important to continually reassert that you are a responsible sender and are primarily sending to active and targeted contacts. Regularly and permanently sunset long disengaged leads. I would recommend basing this segmentation off of contacts who have not engaged with your email for a full year and permanently remove them. Really, in short, it's all about maintaining that sort of engagement and that sort of cleanliness. It's not a suitable solution to keep emailing if your emails are bouncing, hitting spam traps, generating complaints, have no interest, because this could potentially get you blacklisted and cause reputational issues with IPs. Okay, so how are we going to prepare for 2023? Travis, I'll let you go ahead and take this section.
All right, so preparing for 2023. Again, we're in January, so it's a good time to be doing your planning. Organically grown lists are ideal. Again, what we talked about is your touch points, one through in our risk levels, right? So touch points on number one, confirmed opt-in with a CAPTCHA is 5, right? So we want those subscribers in our list. That's our goal, right? And in anything removed from that, we start adding in risk. So beware of issues that come from various list sources. Again, we listed out all 9 sources, and again, we talked about the various issues with each one, and then you need to apply that to your program. Look at how you are obviously collecting email addresses, those sorts of things, and be aware of the issues and prepare for them.
All right. Another thing, regularly use the list cleansing. This includes those never bounce and Webula integrations. Make sure to remove those contacts that habitually soft bounce or do not engage. Also, keep an eye out for spam traps. Again, the list cleansing and engagement helps with this. Those are going to be some of the biggest issues that you're going to have that are going to cause deliverability damage and show that you do not have a maintained list. Also, decide on your cleansing schedule. This is going to be based off of the amount of times you're going to hit a contact, your sending cadence. So go ahead and schedule in your calendars today when and how often you need to clean your data. Next, engagement. So segment based off of interest, like the kind of information that was requested when they entered their address, forms, or the topic at a conference. Uh, Keep an eye on those key metrics around engagement. Assess the key metrics we were talking about every day and set those team goals. This is a great time of year to start doing that. Review it regularly. And if you don't have Data Studio, I would recommend talking with your account manager and getting access as it gives you more insight and allows you to make better decisions. For those contacts that will not engage, we recommend sunsetting them. Just let go of stale data. This is so important to maintaining a healthy reputation, avoiding those spam traps, and keeping your list clean. So, with that, you should be on the right track to improve your deliverability and have a well-maintained list.
So how can you reach your team, our team? So ask your account manager or your client success manager schedule a meeting with the deliverability consultant to discuss your deliverability and explore strategies to improve inboxing.
All right. Again, we are the deliverability team. We're here to help you identify some of these key metrics and keep an eye out for you and provide you with a little bit of additional support. Thank you so much for joining us today. And the demand will go out shortly. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.